All right, folks, here's your post game reaction. I couldn't get a hold of Will. He was lost somewhere. He didn't bake any cakes. I think that was a real problem we had today. Bittersweet win. Good. I mean, I'm happy we won, but you lose Leary. I'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to talk about the positives. After that first half, I'll back up a little bit. I think this team, what we've been saying all year, this team is built differently. They have a different attitude. Other previous teams would have lost this game. The way they were down in the first half, all the flags are going against them, but they maintained that energy. They maintained that effort, which I don't think we've had that before. And it's hard to put a finger on it, but it sure looks like and feels like it's a little bit different. And that's why they won this game. They didn't collapse. They knew that if they got these things straight, that they would be okay. And Duke's not good. Every point they had was a gift from us or from the officials, which were also horrible this game. So there's so much going for this team that it really pains you to see the injuries take over. And I could just feel the wind gets sucked out of the room when Leary gets hurt, and it sucks, man. It's like this. It's you're happy they won, but going forward, like this team has rallied around Leary. That energy wasn't the same that Virginia Tech game when Hockman started. Now I don't know if that's a correlation, but of all the other games we've seen with Leary starting, the team has been, I don't know, uplifted, right? They've been more energetic. They've been into it more. And we talked about this in the last pod, is that I think, there's got to be some correlation that they know they got a guy there that's going to help them win, right? They believe in it. And that just brings everything up, man. They don't have to rely on one side of the ball or the other. And then when that goes down, man, when he goes down, it just, that's tough. The linebackers, I'm going to talk about the defense, right? We railed on the defense pretty much all year, but they started to play better. In this game, they played really well. All three starting linebackers had double-digit tackles. We all saw what Peyton did, 19 tackles, 2 picks. Drake had 10 tackles. Moore had 11 or 12. I mean, it was legit. It was a legit effort. Part of that is the defensive line. Alim McNeil was awesome, occupying blockers, and those guys could work in space, and that's what we've wanted to see. And people make a big deal about scheme or whatever, but if those two components are working, that's those linebackers are free to make plays, and they did, and it was really good to see. I mean, Terrell Dawkins, he had 9 tackles too. I'm trying to think who else on here. Yeah, I mean, I was really happy with what I saw from that regards. That energy, that effort, the execution there. Tanner went out, or Jakeem Harris went out on a targeting call, right? And then Tanner gets hurt, which didn't look good. He was in pain and he was frustrated, so usually that's a bad combination. I don't know what the injury is. They didn't say yet. But now you have Isaac Duffy, a walk-on, out there, and he played well. He had 4 tackles, 2 solo, 2 assisted. I mean, and he was in the right places, making the right plays. They just didn't seem to be like any excuses, right? They didn't have a reason to collapse. There was a lot of belief that the next guy up could do this. And that's to me, that's good to see. We hadn't seen that before. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the mentality shift has been this year, but it feels different. It wasn't a perfect game. That first half, there was Penalties galore, some earned, some not. The offensive line, I don't think, had a very good game. Pack rush for, I mean, the totals are weird because of the quarterback rushing, but Ricky and Bam combined for 141, if my math is correct. 25 carries, 141. Average 5 yards a carry. Not awful, but it just felt like the offensive line didn't do what they had been doing. And maybe that run game isn't as dominant as we previously thought. I really thought they'd be able to run. They'd run over to Duke, and they didn't. I mean, the offensive line is hurt. Witt was out. And then McKay's out. Down a few guys. McMahon didn't have a great game. Yeah, offensive line needs to – this whole team in general needs time to heal. I wish we had the bye week this week instead of the week after Carolina, but yeah, it is what it is. The offensive line just I think that wasn't their best performance today. They've shown flashes in other games. I want to see them put together. I mean, I watched that part of that Duke – or not part of the Virginia Tech Boston College game, and those are two really good offensive lines. Those guys had all day. We just don't. Ours is not there yet. It's a bit scattered, hurt, and all over the place. That was a big point for me. But the Wolfpack sits in third place in the ACC, 4-1, behind Clemson and Notre Dame. I don't think they're the third best team. That's fine to say. But third place, I'll take it. I don't think anybody expected us to be here. Eric McLean from the ACC Network tweeted out an apology. A little late, but whatever. But what do you do moving forward with Leary? All right, this game was bittersweet. What do you do? I mean, Hockman came in and I mean, immediately had two throws that should have been picks, right? The throw to the touchdown to Thayer Thomas. The Duke guy should have picked that. There's no question about that. It was underthrown. Even Thayer said it in the postgame that it was underthrown. And I think he had another one he threw, and the guy was out of bounds or something. There should have been 3 picked, honestly. But he's the guy. I don't feel great about it. I don't think anybody does. I think you kind of know what you got with him, and maybe if you get more of the Wake and less of the other stuff, but I think the Wake was the outlier in there. I don't think Bailey's it, man. I don't know, man. I think that's the part I'm not sure about. I said during the game, I tweeted out that they should have put Finley in a little bit. You're right. You don't have to play. You're right. It's a close game, and I get it. And people are all upset. Can't put a freshman in a close game, but it's not the point. If you're gonna go in and let Bailey just hand it off 3 times in a row, which they did early, they just had him go in and hand it 3 times off, and they punted. Put Finley in, let him hand those off. I know he can hand them off, and he at least gets some of the jitters out from being in the game. Because the way Bailey plays, we played 1.5 games this year, and he was getting torn up. He runs hard. He's not the biggest guy. He doesn't slide. He does all these things, and he just, he lays it out there. Finley's going to have to play regardless. And, my thought was, hey, just get him in a few snaps, let him get some rotation. I don't know. Dave's after the game. They're going to look at everybody and see what they got or something along those lines. But we all know it's going to be Hockman. And I don't think average Bailey Hockman gets you a win next week in Chapel Hill. And what I mean by average is, if the Wake game was good Bailey Hockman and the Virginia Tech game was bad Bailey Hockman, the average in there somewhere in the middle. Unless your offensive line starts getting healthy again and you can run the ball, and I don't know, like the Heels just lost to Florida State, but they have some talent. They have really good running backs. They're going to score, and us being able to score is the question. And Bailey being able to maintain drives, and what are they going to ask of Bailey? Because I don't think I'd have to go back and watch the Wake game. I don't think they asked him to do too much in that regards. And he made a few plays, he made a few throws that he got away with in that game. But in the Virginia Tech game and this game, it looked a little bit different. They're asking him to do a little bit more. And I don't know if he's got it. I hope he can improve. I mean, it's wishful thinking, but I guess from a fan's perspective, I want to see. I guess it's worth a risk, right? What do you have in Evans or Finley, whoever's in the better place right now, right? I think that, to me, it makes sense. I mean, I know these guys are trying to win. I know the coaches are trying to win games, and they know more than us, and they've seen these guys, and yada yada yada. But we've seen what you can get from Bailey in the games, and I don't know. Maybe Finley's a gamer, right? You put him in, and things work better for him. I don't know if they can control Bailey. They may keep him comfortable, run the ball, and do the things where, I mean, if he throws more than 20 times a game, that's not good for us. So they have to be able to run. They have to be able to get the screen game going, do all these things that are, make it easy for him. I trust the coaches can do that, but I think I kind of feel like I know what I'm going to get with Bailey Hockman. And while there is a small element of surprise of another quarterback, Finley or Evans isn't scaring anybody. So I don't think that's that. But if those guys can make better decisions, then, or as good of decisions, maybe, I'm not even sure what it is, right? It's, you just know what you got. I think you know what you have when Bailey's playing. Hope for the best, I guess. We'll see what happens. I'm almost certain it's going to be Bailey. They'll ride it through the Carolina game, get the bye week, and then maybe make an adjustment. I mean, the season's not over because really you have two teams left on your schedule that are, air quotes, tough. Carolina and Miami. They just happen to be the next two games. That's just the way it breaks, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they can still win. I mean, look, they can still win 7 games, win 8 games, which this year's fantastic. But it's going to be a tough week. It's going to be, and maybe the conversation will be around Carolina losing than it will be about us. But yes, it's tough. It was such a good win, right? There's so much effort. It was we just want to be happy about it, and I am happy we won. But it just looks like I don't know. It just feels like it hurts. It feels like it really sucks the wind out of your sails. They had some good momentums, and we get to the next game as they come. But man, it almost feels like another year of what could have been. Or and again, it's still the games are still out in front of us, right? It's all still there. None of these teams are unbeatable, but I just really liked our chances more with Leary, and I hope he gets better. But Doran said he was out long term. He said, or it looks to be long term. He knows. He'll tell us Monday, I guess. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll get Will back and we'll talk a real podcast, but I want to put some thoughts out there because I know everybody's talking about it. And I feel the same way. Just happy you won, but what did it cost you? And I guess that's to be determined. I really like this team. I really like that the way they kept their heads in it. The way they played the whole time. I mean, second half they played really well. Defense was so strong. Didn't give Duke any gifts. Got another goal line stand 3 weeks in a row. I'm trying to think all these things. Yeah. So much positive, right? So much good in this game. So much good coming from this team. Good vibes and last year they don't win that game. And I keep coming back to that. It's the kind of the thought in my head here. But they have the team feels like they're together, right? And given what they've missed in far as spring practice and the new coaches and the new systems, it's really impressive, right? It's really impressive what they're doing with all that. There was some point at the end of the game where we're up 10 and you put Hockman in and they start throwing it. And everybody's wondering, like, why aren't you run the ball? Like, run some screens. I still don't understand that part of it. Choose some clock. Do some of these things. But I want to see that get cleaned up. But I'm really just nitpicking. That was... Yeah. I don't know, man. Folks, man, woman. It's late. I'm kind of rambling at this point. Good win. We'll see what happens. We'll have a better conversation later in the week. I'll get Will back and we'll talk. We'll see the Monday press conference, see what Doran says, see what the quote reports are. But yeah, I mean, put in whoever's going to help you win, right? I don't know who that is. I got to mention Tanner Engel. Tanner Engel hurt, and did I mention that already? He didn't look good. He was in some serious pain, and he's had some issues with his hamstring. I'm wondering if that's more than a one gamer there. I don't know. Hope not. He is so important to this defense. You watch him early, and he was in every play, making plays. That would be a real bummer too. It would be two really crucial pieces. Yeah, Tanner Engel had 4 solo tackles in basically like a quarter and a half. He was really in the mix. All right, folks. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Pack won. Carolina lost. I mean, that's a pretty good weekend to me. So we'll enjoy it. And let me know if you got any questions and whatnot, and we'll talk more later in the week. Thanks for listening. Go back.